Hi there, Crazy Corb here. Got another story for you. I think we'll call this one Border Run. There was a time when I had the dreams of being somebody that could go and pick up lots of kilos of pot down in, not in Mexico, but down in Arizona, and bringing it home to LA so I could sell it. I was just looking to make a few extra bucks. So, in an experiment, I had set a deal up, and I just needed to go down and spend the night in a motel, pick up the car in the morning, and drive away. So I enlisted the aid of a friend. This particular friend was David uh, Schmidt, actually, but uh, he was somebody that wore sunglasses, was a lowrider, had Levi's and a T-shirt. That was his general clothes. His girlfriends had stitched his Levi's, unstitched the seams, and stitched them back with leather, putting bells in them as they did. And so when he walked, he rang. You could hear him a half a block away. There was probably 20 or 30 bells in each leg. Uh, David would probably be 69 or 70 now. He's still alive. He's had brain surgery, doesn't have much of a memory. So he probably couldn't corroborate this, even if he sees this, which I hope he does. I want him to say hello, if nothing else. I haven't seen him in probably 40 years. Anyway, so we drove to Yuma, and I did as I was supposed to with the car, called him and told him where it was. And David and I spent the night at this motel. Um, I think we probably went out to the territorial prison, maybe with him. I no, I went there with at one point with somebody, and toured the prison, and it was a scary son of a bitch. When you got sent to that prison, they welded you into your cell after you dug it out of the hillside, and they fitted it with bars. Uh, Belle Starr died there. There was lots of famous Western criminals that all died there. So anyway, in the morning we get up and go out, get into the car. This is a 1964 Jetstar 88 Oldsmobile. On the way down, we had been stopped for doing over 100 miles an hour on the freeway by a CHP, California Highway Patrol. And because he never actually got a fix on me, since I saw his whip antenna in my rearview mirror and started slowing down, he said that he clocked cars that I had passed, and they were doing over 80. But he pulled us over at gunpoint, searched the car. Of course, there was no drugs there except for a bunch of joints that were rolled up and stuffed up in David's shoe. And I saw him tip David's shoe because Dave had his shoes off. He tipped the shoe, and I saw the joints hit his fingers. And he looked at him, and he just flicked his fingers, and they shot back up. Gave us a lecture. Did not give me a ticket. He was an honest cop. There's a lot of those around. And didn't say anything about the joints. He left. Dave and I just kind of laughed a little bit and drove the rest of the way to Yuma. On the way crossing the border between Arizona and California, of course, there's a produce stop where you have to stop and they search your car to see if you bring in produce in that's not allowed in California for pests. So when we go to leave, I can't remember if it was my suggestion or David's, but we decided that we would go another direction. We wouldn't take the main highways. We'd take a back road across Palm Springs and go in across that way, crossing in through the Mojave Desert. And so off we go, never thinking anything at all about what we were doing other than the fact we were about to do it. So we're driving around, and actually David's driving. I'm sitting, I'm dressed in a suit with my suit coat off. And David's backpack is in the back seat. The trunk's full of kilos. I've got some boxes of waterbed frames in the back seat. And we didn't even cover the kilos up. We just went ahead and took off. So we're driving through this winding, twisting road. And then all of a sudden, we turn a corner, and here is this little building in the middle of the street. It's got this big sign on it. It says, Armed Narcotics Check. Stop or be shot. And then there was like 8 or 12 uh, border agents standing with submachine guns blocking the road. So we stop. Like I said, David's driving, wearing his shades, and this guy comes over, looks down at the car and looks at us, looks at David, looks at me, looks back at David, looks back at me. Now, like I told you, David's wearing a t-shirt, Levi's, with stitching taken out on the sides and little bells woven in there. T-shirt, the Levi's, boots. Well, anyway, he had shoes, but they were on. And sunglasses, long hair, and a mustache. I'm dressed in a suit, clean shaven, and the cop goes, "Whose car is this?" And David tips his thumb towards me, and I bend down and I say, "It's my car, sir." And he goes, "Who's he?" pointing to David. So I said, "Well, he was hitchhiking a ways back, and I'm tired. I've been driving all day, and I went ahead and picked him up, and he was good enough to drive." And he goes, "What do you got in the trunk?" And I said, "Well, I've got a bunch of waterbed uh, in boxes, like the ones here in the back seat. These wouldn't fit back there. And that's his duffel bag there, and it's my coat." And he goes, "Well, who's he?" And I said, "He was hitchhiking, and I picked him up." I said, "We've talked a little bit. I know we live in the same town, and so I'm giving him a ride to where he was going, which is home. And I'm just coming back from a sales trip trying to sell waterbed mattresses. I was over at the Bell Book and Candle to try and sell him some mattresses." And he goes, "Well, did they buy any?" And I said, "No, that's why my trunk's full. They did not buy any. I thought they would, but they didn't." And he goes, "And you just met him?" And I said, yeah, I just met him. He's doing me a favor." And he goes, "Well, he's quiet." And I said, "Yeah, he's probably scared shitless. You know, this is kind of a surprise. All these people with guns and shit." Says, "I've taken the back road because I didn't want to go through the fruit inspection. I don't have any fruit. I didn't want to take the time. I just want to get home." And he goes, "Okay." And he looked at David, and he looked at me, and he looked at David, and he looked at me, and then he looks back at his guys, and he sticks his hands in the air and makes some kind of a motion, and they go and pick up the building and move it. And he goes, "You guys can go now." And I said, "Thank you very much." And David steps on the gas. We drive on through. We go around another couple of turns. David looks at me and he pulls the car over. And he goes, "I don't know about you, but I need a fucking joint right now." And I said, "Okay, okay." And I pull out a joint and light it and hand it to him. And I light another joint for me. And I said, "Let's go a little further before we enjoy these joints." And he goes, "Yeah." And so he pulls back out and starts driving away. But we're driving, and we went through it. Never, ever have I driven anywhere with a whole bunch of, well, no, I can't say that. No more driving through border crossings for me. Yes, I've driven kilos up into Seattle and like that, but you know, that scared the shit out of me. It really did. Apparently, I didn't show it enough that it made them stop and search because we were exactly what they were looking for. People driving through, and I had 47 kilos in the trunk. People driving through with some weed so they can get it out. Of course, now they have dogs. They would have walked the dog around the car. We would have been busted right now. So, and I'm going to tell you another story that's happened after this. Didn't involve David, but I wanted to do this one because I wanted to send this video to David and let him see what's up and what's been going on and all of that shit. Let him know something. I know he's lost most of his memory from his surgery for cancer in his brain. And so I'm hoping that this will jog something for him and he'll remember it. We were good friends for a very long time. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, share it. Subscribe if you don't. Hit like. I love it when you hit like. And I love comments. Comment, for crying out loud. Let people know that you sit there and you give a shit. Thank you.